Welcome to Wengen and one of the biggest challenges of the season.
I can vouch for that, but don't take our word for it. Here are the Lauberhorn's vital statistics.
Fast and spectacular. Johan Clary broke the 100-mile-an-hour barrier here last year, making this officially the quickest course on the circuit.
The speed through the gun there, 100 miles per hour.
At 2,315 metres above sea level, the Lauberhorn start gate is one of the highest in the world. A very intimidating welcome.
At almost 4.5 kilometres, the Lauberhorn is the longest and most arduous downhill course of them all. It's survival of the fittest up here.
And the Swiss love their ski racing. The Lauberhorn brings them out in their droves. Up to 38,000 turn up each year to watch the men's downhill.
But on the Lauberhorn,
The longest,
the fastest,
and one of the toughest of all downhill courses.
there's only one number that really matters.
So first up, it's the men's downhill from Wengen. Who will tame the mighty Lauberhorn and write their names into the record books of one of the world's most prestigious and exhilarating races?
And did you know Britain is actually really quite good at winter sports, specifically slopestyle, the new kid on the block at the Winter Olympics. Team GB have some world-class athletes who learned their trade not in the Alps, but in the UK.
And one of those is Katie Summerhays. We get up close and personal with the Sheffield lass who's one eye on Olympic glory. The man who's sitting on top of the world downhill standings at the moment is a Norwegian who's achieved every accolade possible in the world of skiing. Axel Lund Svindal has won 8 World Championship medals, 3 Olympic medals, 2 overall World Cup titles and 25 World Cup races. But, and it's a big but, he's never placed on the podium in the famous Lauberhorn in the shadow of the Eiger. A win here would help cement his reputation as one of the best downhill racers of all time.
I thought the last year was going to be the time I'm super comfortable in training runs. I think I won both of them, or at least one of them, by a decent margin too. And yeah, the race comes and I end up in the nets.
Oh, and he's in trouble and Svindal's in the nets, my word.
That happens. I have to say, I think the reason why I never won this race is that this is a really old school downhill, because I come from the Super G and GS side, and I'm better at turning. Like if I can do turn in turn and like, you know, just link it together, that's where I can usually pull away from the rest of the guys. And this course is like, there's a turn, and you just go straight for a while, and there's like 2 super quick turns, and you go straight, and like, there's really nowhere where you can link it up really nicely.
Explain how challenging this race, the Lauberhorn, is.
It's a course where you can't really make any mistakes because you have to carry the speed all the way down because it's that long. To be able to ski the whole course perfect and aggressively, that's the hardest or trickiest part about this course.
Do you think that it's a physical thing as much as it is a technical thing?
The last part is after when you come over 2 minutes, because that's usually where, you know, downhill is 2 minutes. So the last 40 seconds, I would say it's also a physical thing, because to be able to ski a good turn, you need to have some power there.
You also need to be big and powerful and heavy, and you're one of the most powerful guys on the circuit.
I believe that being physically fit is the easiest thing you can do. Like, it's just a matter of how many hours you put in, so there's no reason to, you know, have a disadvantage.
He leads the way by more than half a second, brilliant.
Bormio is also really a physical hill, and I won that one in the last 30 seconds, so it's, yeah, you need to be strong.
Everyone knows it, you said it 2 weeks ago. Axel Lund Svindal needs a podium either here in Wengen or at Kitzbühel to stamp his authority on the World Cup.
And he doesn't have great memories of this course either, so there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. Last season, that's where his race ended. He crashed into the nets just below the Hundschopf.
Do you think he's going to do it?
There's a lot of pressure on, and he's got a lot of people who will be fighting him for the win here.
Number one spot for that must be Eric Gay.
Definitely. Eric Gay skied very fast this season. Would have won in Bormio had he not made that mistake in that final turn.
OK, what about the Swiss? This is an incredibly partisan race, and they have provided a couple of surprise winners. Well, three in Feutz, Janka and...
Defargo,
OK,
2009.
Can they do it again?
I think their best shout for a surprise win is probably Patrick Kung. He's won a Super G this season and he's skiing fast.
OK, what about Johan Clery, the Frenchman? Set the 100-mile-an-hour record here last year. You're always banging on about confidence.
He will have confidence, and he's a good glider, and he will like these conditions. There's a lot of new snow that's fallen, and it's going to slow the course down, and it's going to be more of a gliding skier's race.
Well, this is the gliding section starting, and the snow here is so sticky. How's this going to affect your course run?
It's going to make it very, very long. My legs will be burning at the bottom.
OK, it's time for Graham to test out those quads.
Well, as much as Ed is looking forward to seeing the look of pain on my face as I cross the line, unfortunately, because of the strong southerly wind known as the Föhn, they've had to lower the start. And we're starting right here on the Canadian corner, which means most of the top section of the course is removed. Coming into the S, the Kernan S, it means that these turns will be absolutely crucial. I can feel the wind. The wind is really buffeting and blowing around on this part of the course. It's going to make the race a little bit of a lottery, I think. It's warmed up considerably since yesterday. The new snow that's fallen has now been brushed away, and it's quite icy and bumpy underfoot. Into the S above the Hanigschuss. Now this is where they set the fastest speed last year. Down the Hanigschuss, tucking in really tight. It's the first time I've ever got here and actually had fresh legs through the compression out onto Silas Bowden. Now this is fast, really motoring, heading towards the Silverthorn jump. Over the jump, good flight. You can really power this course. Never been here with such fresh legs. I'm going to nail the finish S now. Out close to the net, hard on that right ski. Just clip the gate there. Whoa, ran close and wide and across the line. I've never been so fresh coming into the finish S. I went a little bit mental. I might get told off because I hit one of the gates.
And how is it now with that lowered start?
It could be a little bit of a lottery on top because of the wind, but it's running really fast down the bottom. And it's all going to be down to who can nail the finish S with fresh legs.
Out of breath, a little bit of aggression there from Graham. It's now time for the Wengen downhill. Mac Chilton has the commentary.
For more than 80 years, the Wengen downhill has been an important fixture in the Swiss sporting calendar. And despite the lack of the iconic jumps, the race goes ahead in front of a capacity crowd here to witness the 84th running of the Lauberhorn. Matthias Meyer, wearing number 2 for Austria, on the shortened course. And look at the crowds, they're crammed in here to witness this wonderful sporting spectacle. Into the Kernan S. Narrow stretch, just about the narrowest stretch on any World Cup course. 95.5 on the way into the Kernan S, 75.3 on the exit under the railway bridge, and on his way to the fastest part of the course, the Hanigschuss. Not as quick as it normally is this year, but still clocking 152 plus kilometers per hour. Matthias Meyer bidding for an Olympic place, hits the jump hard, 0.62. The green light on, Matthias Meyer potentially skiing for first position. The current leader, Silvano Baratoni of Italy, who was first on the hill. Normally by now the legs would be burning, but because of the shortened course, the racers still have energy to spare, and it's a time of 1 minute 33.10 for Matthias Meyer of Austria.
Great run from Matthias Meyer, really nailed it going into the finish S, got airborne and then came hard down on that right ski, carried a lot of speed through that section. It's a good early time.
Romed Baumann, number 3 for Austria, powerful start. Pushed his skis up high behind him as he thrust his body out of the gate and straight into the tuck onto the Canadian corner. The wind is still strong. They're battling against the elements as well as the demanding aspects of this, which is normally the longest downhill course in the world, but not this year. 94.7 on the way into the Cairns, and good speed on the exit as well, as Baumann plunges down the Hannagschuss. Nice wide starts. A couple of big sweeping turns to follow. Or a little off kilter as he came over the rise. That jump artificially enlarged this year just to give them an extra kick. But he's heading close to the time of teammate Matthias Meyer. He's got the skis sideways, coming in towards the finish. Baumann will go close. Baumann's gone second, 1600ths behind teammate Matthias Meyer. Good run.
Next to face the Lauberhorn is Didier Defargo, one of 6 former winners racing here today. That win in 2009, followed by Olympic gold in 2010, marked a high point in Didier's career that he's never matched.
The Olympic downhill champion, desperate to hit his best form with the Sochi Olympic Winter Games, starting in just a couple of weeks from now. And the noise from the crowds on the mountain is immense as Defargo comes towards the Cairns, named after Bruno Cairns, who was the downhill world champion for Switzerland in '97, one of Defargo's former teammates. The speed is pretty solid under the railway bridge. Onto the Hannagschuss, 0.39 behind. Matthias Meyer still the leader. Defargo isn't far behind. Just a little bit of air time. Did the double here a few years ago, won in Wengen 1 week, went on to Kitzbühel and conquered the Hahnenkamm 7 days later. The most important win for him was in Whistler Mountain in 2010 when he took the Olympic downhill title, skirting with the advertising hoardings and the safety netting. Dangerous, shaky moment for Didier Defargo, and he's only good enough for 3rd. Lucky to stay on his feet.
Well, Didier Defargo was letting it all hang out, but almost lost it a couple of times, going over the Silberhorn jump, really wild in the air. Coming into the finish S, almost gets his ski caught in the net, manages to hang on, but not good enough to take the lead. Ready to go is Bodie Miller, Olympic gold medalist, world champion and 2-time winner here. But the past 12 months have been tough for Bodie. Injury has kept him from racing, and he's been through a bitter custody battle and the tragic death of his brother. Miller is back now and hoping for one last shot of glory in Sochi. Will that chapter of history start here?
Bodie Miller standing tall in the start gate, deep breaths, and then a fast start, skating with his skis, driving with his very long body-shaped downhill ski poles. Crowd roaring him out of the start gate as we watch him coming into the Cairns. Needs good speed on the entry. Nice high line, solid enough. In at 92.1, out at 75.9. Bodie means business here today as he dives under the bridge. Now plunging down the Hannagschuss with good speed. Great top section from Bodie Miller, nothing wrong with this, full attack mode. Oh, and then he's winding down the windows as he flew the Silberhorn jump. But that's a reflection of the commitment to the course, and 1200ths in front. Miller makes up a huge chunk of time in the middle of the course. The ski's getting bounced around, he's got his body twisted. Desperate measures at the bottom of the run for Miller, but he's got the lead by 900ths of a second.
Oh dear, Bodie just going around that last right-hander. Cut into the turn too tight and had to pull his inside knee back out of the turn, because otherwise he was going to smash straight into that gate. That made him run wide at the end of the turn, and although he's got the lead, he could have been so much more ahead.
In the start gate, Max France for Austria, number 10. Crunch time for the Austrian downhillers. Bode Miller leads, Matthias Meyer second, Romed Baumann third, Max France on his way. Selection time coming up for the Olympic Winter Games. Only 4 racers per nation can compete in each discipline. The Austrians with potentially 7 or 8 to choose from, youngsters and veterans alike. Max France looking for a solid result here. On to the Hanagschuss, and he's got the upper hand. Nearly half a second faster than Bode Miller. Good ski preparation clearly for Max France. His racing line is high and early. The top part of the course has been nailed. A little wobble off the Lauberhorn jump, but still green. 0.22 in front of Miller. Hard into this section, just avoids coming into contact with the safety netting. And like Bode Miller, he's a little twisted and off balance. Has he done enough to lead? Yes, he has. France takes it away from Miller by 0.11 of a second.
Max France takes the lead. It's interesting to see as he went into that finish S on the left-hander. He did almost like a power slide, skis going sideways, not carving, and then stood really hard on them just as he got to the gate. And then immediately a very quick transition as he put his skis across, and then able to carry the speed through the right-hander and just taking the lead away from Bode Miller.
Patrick Kung for Switzerland, racer number 12. The host nation's best hope today for success. Patrick Kung straight into his tuck position. Listen to the noise from the mounted crowd. Immense. Into the Cairns. Kung holds his tuck for as long as he dares. Nice and light on his skis, letting them just float across the top surface of the snow. Good on the way in, fast on the exit, under the bridge, carrying good speed as he dives down the Hanagschuss. Nothing wrong with this so far from Patrick Kung, who on paper is only the 8th best downhiller of the season, but he's been consistent. Flapping like a bird as he flew the Lauberhorn. This is okay though. Kung is just 0.03 of a second off the pace of Max France of Austria. Clear of the safety netting there. That turn was pretty tight. It's good for Patrick Kung. Kung tucks in. Kung leads the way in Wengen. 1/4 of a second. Terrific run.
Patrick Kung just punching the air with delight, and the reason why is because he absolutely skied the finish S to perfection. Came through the left-hander, got himself nice and high, and then carved right the way through that right-hander, accelerated through the turn and carried all that speed down onto the finish pitch and across the line. Brilliant skiing on the finish S.
Peter Phil, the Italian veteran, number 13 today. He's had a consistent, solid season, 6th in the World Cup downhill standings. Crowd really responding to that excellent run from Patrick Kung, who leads the way. Noise levels turn to full volume now. 95 on the way into the Cairns for Peter Phil. His exit speed 73.3, not bad at all. Now the Hanagschuss, and an advantage of 0.07 of a second at the first intermediate time for Peter Phil, who had his backside down on the snow there for a split second. Great strength to pull himself back upright, but it's cost him. The mistake means that Peter Phil is 0.3 of a second behind Patrick Kung, our leader for the host nation, Switzerland. Excitement levels mounting now. Into the finish area. Last little roller for Peter Phil, good enough for 5th only. 0.5 second off the pace of Patrick Kung.
This time last year, Johan Clary set the record for the highest speed ever reached in a downhill ski race. On this year's snow, he'll not be breaking the 100-mile-an-hour mark, but he needs some speed to ensure his place on France's team for next month's Olympics.
Johan Clary from La Clusaz in France, racer number 40, the speed record holder. He's had a really good season, 7th in the standings. His best result came in Val Gardena just before Christmas, where he made it onto the World Cup downhill podium in 3rd position. 96 on the way into the Cairn S, possibly a little high on the exit, 73.9 kilometers per hour through the tunnel. 1100ths up. Excellent start for Johan Clary from France. Now then, the visibility is difficult in this section, and he's got the ski sideways, misjudged the exit at the bottom of the Hanigschuss, and he's paid the price for that. 0.48. There have been pockets of sunshine. Visibility has been fractionally better for some of the racers, but it's flat and unwelcoming for Johan Clary. 1:32.66 is the quickest for Patrick Kung. Clary is 0.62 slower in 7th. Beat Voigt, number 15 for Switzerland. His compatriot Patrick Kung still the leader here. Listen to the noise for Beat Voigt, roaring him along. A couple of years ago, he was very much the man to watch. Then he had a nasty injury. He was in hospital for weeks on end. Finally, he's on the comeback trail, and he had a good top 5 result in Beaver Creek in the early part of the season. Can he back that up with a solid result where it matters more to him and to the Swiss ski racing fans right here in Wengen? It's a good-looking start for Voigt. 600ths off the speed of Patrick Kung. Nice work so far. Kung's intermediate, 1:14.93. Solid jump from Voigt, half a second away. Now, if he can finish quickly here at the bottom of the Lauberhorn, there's a chance of another top 5 for Beat Voigt to give him a real shot at making the trip to Sochi. Final stretch, he's tucking in, he's 8th. Pretty good for Beat Voigt. The comeback continues. Axel Lund Svindal is the World Cup downhill standings leader. 2 wins to his name. Round 2 in Beaver Creek. The last World Cup downhill in Bormio. Both went to Svindal. He wears the red bib. He also leads the overall World Cup standings by just a handful of points to the slalom specialist Marcel Hirscher. Svindal going nicely. 74.3 is good speed on the exit of the Cairn S. Following from the helicopter shot now, and he's dead level with Patrick Kung as he heads towards the forest. Svindal with excellent speed, hardly moving from that tuck position. Good high line. Terrific shots these from overhead. Watching the Norwegian at full tilt down the Lauberhorn. Great speed from Svindal. Won the world title in Schladming last February, on February the 9th. Took the gold at the World Championships. He'll be desperate to add the Olympic gold to his list of achievements next month in Sochi. That's a good jump from Svindal, and just 1600ths behind Patrick Kung. Svindal could go close. Will he break Swiss hearts with a fine finish here in Wengen? High line there. A little close to the outer blue line. Svindal is second. Relief for the Swiss. Very tight. 700ths between the two.
Well, as Axel came into the finish S, I thought he's not going to be able to do it because Kung had skied it so cleanly. Actually, though, Axel skied it better and only failed by 700ths of a second. Just shows the power of the man. You can have the power in the legs to just drive those skis around the turn. Next to go is Eric Gay. Eric's third place in Bormio last month saw him stand on the podium more times than any other Canadian racer. He claimed that getting a bit greedy at the end of that run saw him miss out on top spot. Let's hope being fastest in training here hasn't left him ravenous.
Eric Gay for Canada. We don't call them the Crazy Canucks anymore. They go under the nickname of the Canadian Cowboys. It's Kung leading for Switzerland, Svindal second for Norway, France third for Austria. Gay on the mountain now for Canada, the winner in Val Gardena. 94.6 on the way into the KNS, kilometers per hour. His exit speed, it's not that good, 71.5. And the difference is 0.4 of a second. 106.4, the latest speed reading for Eric Gay across the snow. Oh, and he's in trouble. Oh, and Gay has recovered. Thankfully, he didn't hit the safety netting, but his race is over.
Well, that was unexpected. Probably one of the easiest turns on the course, just above the Hanigschus, just after the gliding section. Eric Gay stood on his inside ski going into the turn, hit a bump, and then just went down and went out. And he's really going to start to develop a reputation for being a bit of a choker. Fastest in training, and then crashing out in the race. In the start hut is Hannes Reichelt. The Austrian may not look like an adrenaline junkie, but when he's not racing down icy slopes, he relaxes by water skiing, rock climbing and whitewater rafting. Hannes's early successes were in Super G and Giant Slalom, but podium places here and in Bormio have shown he's got the legs for the rush of downhill.
Hannes Reichelt, second twice already this season. Finished runner-up in Beaver Creek, and he was on the podium behind Svindal in Bormio at the last World Cup downhill. Was third here 12 months ago. Likes this course. Reichelt's speed is pretty impressive, 95.2, followed by 73.9 on the exit through the tunnel and travelling quickly across the snow, and he's dead level with Patrick Kung. Excellent top section on the shortened Wengen Lauberhorn course for Hannes Reichelt of Austria. Ski's getting bounced around, just feeling his way through this part of the course, sensing underfoot the little lumps and bumps that are building up. The trees will give him better visibility, more definition on the bottom part of the course. Nothing wrong with this so far for Hannes Reichelt. Now down the Hanigschus. Looks for speed, a nice wide downhill start. Looking to let the skis just glide over the top of the snow and give him an extra couple of kilometers per hour through the gun. Here's the Silberhorn, that's pretty good for Reichelt, 1:14.93. Didn't get a split time there, so just that first intermediate to go on. No obvious mistakes for Hannes Reichelt. Nice and light on his edges. The last turn, and he's almost home. Reichelt gets low and crosses the line to go second. Close, very close, 600ths.
It is really tight at the top, and the Swiss just had to catch their breath. 600ths of a second. Reichelt skied the finish S good, but not enough to take the lead away from the local hero.
Britain's only representative in the race was Dougie Crawford, the fiancée of Britain's best female skier, Shemi Alcott. Dougie skied the top section well, but a mistake near the bottom ended his run prematurely. So the results of the Wengen downhill. Joy for the Swiss supporters as Patrick Kung conquers the Lauberhorn for the first time. Second place to Hannes Reichelt, with Axel Lund-Svindal third.
You skied the finish S pretty well.
Yeah.
I think the best, but just not quite enough.
No, it's a couple of hundreds, but I mean, I knew it would be a tight race with the lowered start, so I tried to, put some risk into the last turn and see if that paid off. And I mean, I had a good run. There's always things you can do better, but in the end, it's a tight race. I'm on the podium. You always wish you have the hundreds on your side, but that goes back and forward, and I'm happy with third.
Really tough race. It was really bumpy and so on. So being happy on the podium. Don't be so unlucky about no victory.
Just describe the feeling of just being able to stand on top of the podium, because you did it once already in Super G, but in downhill, it's a very special moment.
I think this was my dream many years ago to win here in Lauberhorn, and now I stay on the top on the podium. It's incredible.
So that lowered start didn't diminish any of the drama of the race. In fact, it added a whole new dimension.
Well, it meant that they were coming into the finish S with fresh legs and they could really power through those turns. Just 0.07 of a second separated the men on the podium.
Well, they weren't just surviving that finish section, there was aggression there, wasn't there?
Miller, maybe a fraction too aggressive, or otherwise he would have been up there as well.
What about Svindal? It seems now, you said it all along, he's cemented this reputation at the perfect time, it seems.
Looking very, very good for the Winter Olympics.
Okay, Kung, you called it. Where did he come from?
Well, he's been there and thereabouts over the last couple of years. And it seems like the Swiss, they love this course. They always pull out a surprise winner.
Okay, well, Patrick Kung, a very worthy winner here in Wengen. No British success, but I'm pleased to say it's becoming a regular fixture elsewhere in the world of winter sport.
British cross-country skier Andrew Musgrave stunned his Norwegian rivals by winning their national sprint freestyle race in Lillehammer. Although ineligible for gold as a foreign entrant, the 23-year-old Scot beat a field packed with skiers fighting for places on Norway's Olympic team. British Paralympic medal prospect Kelly Gallagher clinched a third gold medal at the World Cup in Canada with victory in the Super G event. The 28-year-old visually impaired skier from County Down aims to be Britain's first Winter Paralympic gold medalist. Katie Summerhays took silver in Gstaad at the last World Cup slopestyle before Sochi. You can see her in action later in the show. She and the rest of the athletes now have a nervous wait as the Winter Olympic qualifying window will shut by end of play today. Team GB's official announcement will be made on Wednesday. Keep across the BBC Sport website to find out who's on the plane to Russia and who isn't. Few selection concerns for our women's sliders though, with yet more success for Lizzie Yarnold and Shelley Rudman in the Skeleton World Cup. A silver and a bronze respectively in St. Moritz makes them amongst the favourites for success in Sochi. You can see how all our skeleton athletes got on in the latest World Cup in Austria. There are highlights at 6:30 tonight on the red button, straight after Ski Sunday Extra.
There is a preconception in the UK that skiing and snowboarding is the pastime of the privileged. But there's a group of talented youngsters who are out to prove that preconception wrong.
In the 80s, there was a massive growth in the development of dry slopes. And in recent years, snow domes have been popping up all over the UK.
Affordable and accessible domestic facilities have seen British freestyle skiers and snowboarders reach the top of their game.
That's handy, because if we're lucky, they may just bring a couple medals back from Sochi. If you think the British skiers and snowboarders going to Sochi grew up riding on fresh alpine powder, you'd be wrong. Almost all of them started somewhere like this. No mountains here, no snow even. This is Halifax Ski and Snowboard Centre. Jamie Nichols grew up riding here, and it's typical of many of the dry ski slopes around the UK. Well, this brings back a few memories. I learnt to ski on Hill End in Edinburgh. It's one of the largest dry ski slopes in the country. It's probably about as cold and as windy as this one. It's been about 6 years since I've been on dry slopes. Time to give it a go. Doesn't run quite as fast as snow, and it goes a bit quicker when it's pouring with rain. There's two types of dry slopes you can get. There's Dendex, which is what I grew up skiing on, which is a bit faster and better for racing, and Snowflex, which is this type, which is much better for freestyle. Now, I'm no expert at freestyle, but this man here, Tyler Harding. Hi Tyler, how you doing? A member of the British team. So how old were you when you first started skiing on here?
I started here about 4 years old, which is a long time ago for me, and it's been so beneficial for me.
So the skiers now train together with the snowboarders. Who else on that team has grown up riding here?
I grew up with Jamie Nichols, one of the biggest guys in the world, and also Katie Ormerod, who's most definitely going to the Olympics this year in 2014. So we've got some really good riders coming from here, which is sick.
So why do you think so many freestyle skiers and snowboarders have come from either Halifax or Sheffield down the road?
Halifax, I would say, because we've got the jump, and we've got probably the best jump in Britain for snowflakes.
So you're going to get your skis on and show us what you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna do some stuff up there. Sounds fun.
Cool. Just goes to show that you don't actually need that much. You know, we're producing top-class slopestyle skiers and snowboarders with kickers like this from around the country, and they're all homegrown. If dry slopes seem a little tired and perhaps a bit dated, then this feels entirely different. Just 20 miles down the road, this is X-Skate Castleford, one of 6 indoor snow centres in the UK. Real snow, no wind, no rain, and when they get all the features out, this place turns into a gibber's paradise.
So let the games begin.
The indoor snow domes, I think, are fantastic. What a creation. We're here standing in a giant fridge with the ultimate setup to learn to ski and snowboard, and even for us, we can come in here and progress.
With the rails and boxes, I do believe you can actually get to such a high level where you can actually compete with some of the world's best on these features. Jumps, you know, you can learn the fundamentals of it, you know, the basics, and up to quite a very high standard.
This place is actually really busy for a Friday night. It's kind of reached that critical mass. There's a real mixture between skiers and snowboarders, different standards and different ages. So one kid will try something, another one will copy that, and they're all really pushing each other and improving together.
The grummies now are getting ridiculous. I went up to Bear's Den, you know, ripping double corks on a dry slope, which is absolutely unbelievable. So the new generation of kids that are going to come through are going to blow people's minds for sure.
There's loads of like camps popping up for people who have never been on a box or a rail before, who have never hit a jump. So it really does take you right through from the very first time and then progress you to potentially you could be getting on the junior team or you could be joining the development squads.
The fact that slopestyle ski, slopestyle snowboard have gone into the Olympics, it's kind of like, right, okay, well, we can actually do this in the UK now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, these guys have showed that that's possible. All of them have come from, like, you know, dry slopes and the indoor centres, every single one of them. It's really paving the way for what can be achieved, and it'd be great to see some more kids coming through. And obviously, the more successful we are in Sochi is really going to help with that.
So let the games begin.
I love this. For me, this is faith repaid to all of the dry slopes and indoor snow domes who put so much time and money into freestyle and snowboarding. You can never replicate a half pipe in the UK, but suddenly we've got a deep seam of talent who've developed slopestyle skills in the UK.
And what we need now is for one of those guys to actually convert and win a medal and convince UK sport that they can properly back it the way that they've backed short track speed skating and skeleton.
Exactly. We've got this embarrassment of riches going to Sochi. In snowboarding, it's Billy Morgan, Jamie Nichols, Katie Ormerod, Jenny Jones and Amy Fuller.
And on the ski side, you've got James Woods, Katie Summerhays, and in the half-pipe, Rowan Cheshire.
And all of these skiers and snowboarders have done it despite the system, not because of it. So with serious backing, we could become a superpower of this discipline.
So best of luck to our freestylers and snowboarders, and it's not long now before the pressure will be ranked up a notch.
I will tell you when to jump, and I'll dictate how high. The ones that came before you stood strong and tall and brave.
I am so excited about Russia. We've got so much talent on snow, and one of them is Sheffield's slopestyle starlet who's hoping to win a medal in Sochi, Katie Summerhayes.
Katie Summerhayes, British freestyle skiing. I was 6 years old when I first started skiing. I just loved it. It was just kind of a hobby at first, not really expecting it to be leading to where I am now. But it's pretty cool being a British skier on like the scene and people be like, "You're from England, how can you ski?" Freestyle skiing is really just jumps and rails together. You normally have about 3 jumps and 3 rails during one run. You go down hitting every feature. You don't have any rules. You can literally do whatever you want. It's really fun and exciting, and you don't really know what's going to happen when someone goes down. It's just on difficulty, execution, style. So if it's a difficult trick but done with a lot of style and made look easy, I think you get a lot of points from that. Normally, I'm just in the start gate focused, just going through everything, like all the tricks that I'm going to do. I was so excited when I found out I was in the Olympics because I never thought I would be able to become an Olympic athlete. So for people to have an opportunity of doing the Olympics and representing Great Britain on that stage, I just think it's amazing.
Yet another British athlete to get excited about in Russia.
And it seems like everyone has got the Winter Olympics on their mind right now.
This Thursday, Radio 5 Live will be broadcasting a Winter Olympics special called Frozen in Time between 8 and 10 p.m. It's a look back at some of the most memorable and historic moments from Winter Olympics past.
But there's plenty more alpine ski racing to come between now and then.
On Ski Sunday Extra after this show, you can press the red button and watch highlights of the men's slalom from Wengen. You can also watch it on the BBC Sport app, on the BBC Sport website through your connected TV, or you can watch the whole race on iPlayer. Spoilt for choice.
And I'll be giving a masterclass for all you speed demons out there. There's an awful lot you can learn from the pros, whatever your level of ability.
And if that's not enough for you technical fans, then you can watch the action from the men's slalom in Kitzbühel next Sunday at 12:15 across all platforms.
And then it's the big one, the men's downhill, the Hahnenkamm from Kitzbühel, BBC 2, Sunday afternoon, 5:15.
Patrick Kung, another surprise winner for the Swiss here in Wengen. Congratulations, sir.
So from the Lauberhorn, it's Auf Wiedersehen.